get started. I mean, we're at 8:04 here. Just to kick us off, this, if you guys are not aware, is the Variegate Protocol AMA. We're excited to host you guys. But before we get started, I want to provide, just a brief update on Dive Wallet. We did send out an amazing new video release of our fearless leader, Gavin, doing his thing with the actual wallet. So that was really cool to see. It is pinned, so you can definitely check it out. It's a YouTube link. Literally shows all the functionality of our wallet to this point as far as how development has gone. It's incredible what we can do. I said this in the chat yesterday, but I let out an audible gasp when he changed the price source because that's the first of its kind. I mean, we are the first people to be able to do that. I know that we're also looking into pulling PancakeSwap's API directly in as price source. So that's something that the team is currently working towards. Still an option. So hopefully that's something we can accomplish too. But seeing it swap from CoinGecko to CoinMarketCap was like total, mind explosion right there. We are still on track right now for late Q3, but as Gavin said the other day, there's always something that goes on in the tech space, so we don't want to make any promises. We may bleed into the first 2 weeks of October. So, no surprises there. We just want to be transparent with the team as always. Other things, of course, we still have our initial NFTs that we had released. If you guys want to check those out and potentially purchase one, $250 a piece at diversclubnft.com. As mentioned, the benefits of that, extra 1% in refundees for anyone who purchased during the private sale. They will have access to beta test the wallet. That 1% in reflections has already been implemented for those of us who did purchase the NFTs, and everyone's been showing them off. They're really awesome, and I'm looking forward to hopefully picking up another one myself. Keep in mind, all funds from our NFT sales are going directly towards wallet development. So it's a huge win for everyone if you, go out and grab 1 or 2 or 10 of those if you're Mike Chase. So with that said, not a whole heck of a lot of other updates from us. Things are moving along. We have been in talks with a couple of other great companies out there to potentially partner up in a way, just sort of work with them so that, they don't go and make their own wallet. Hint, hint. So you guys can kind of read between the lines a little bit on that, but nothing is solidified yet. We had just kind of some preliminary talks on that, and I don't want to reveal too much because we don't have anything official yet, but there's some exciting things on the horizon there. And that's really it for Dive Wallet updates. With that said, I am excited to welcome the Variegate Protocol team. I know we have Mike up here, and who is going to be representing tonight? I believe it's Josh.
Yeah, how's it going, Hailey? Josh and myself will both be up here answering all your super tough questions.
I'm sure, yes. I'm definitely putting you guys through the ringer tonight. Well, very happy to have you guys here. Thank you so much for showing up late on a Wednesday. I'm not sure what time zone you're in, but I'm on the East Coast, so it's actually 8 p.m. here. Let's get started here. Excited to learn about the team. I know you guys do a lot of similar stuff to what we do in the space. So just to kind of kick us off, tell me a little bit about you. You could start with you, Mike, and then, maybe Josh can tell us a little bit about himself. How did you guys get into this space? Sort of without telling us about the project at this point. We'll talk about that after, but, we're always keen to know who we're working with and, speaking with, and introduce the people to the community first. So tell me a bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I got into crypto about 2 years ago, mainly blue chip kind of stocks, a little bit of Ethereum, BTC, ADA. And then the biggest thing that got me over to the BSC chain was obviously the super hype of SafeMoon. So got my way into SafeMoon, started learning about all these other projects that actually were putting out utility. Not that SafeMoon won't someday, but putting out actual utility, and had devs that were very community friendly and listening to feedback, and obviously doing things according to what the community feedback was, along with their roadmap and vision. So along the way, had a couple little rug pulls here and there, obviously, that I was a part of. And actually, one of the shared ones that we had that kind of brought all of us together over at Variegate um, was probably one of the most beneficial things looking back on it, even though it totally sucked at the time. But pretty much that's what formed for Variegate. I know Josh had been developing, obviously. He came into that project late when pretty much the developer had abandoned it, and he didn't see the reason why because it still had potential. But he went ahead and formed this project with a couple other people, and then I came along towards the end before it actually launched. So
Awesome. And Josh, love to hear from you as well.
Haley, how are you?
Doing okay, actually. A little better.
Well, glad to hear you're feeling a little better. And this is a little out of our comfort zone because we're usually in the hosting seat, so I'm not quite used to being asked the questions tonight. So I'm not quite sure how to take this.
It's okay. I'll be gentle with you guys, I promise.
Well, I'm kind of looking forward to the challenge. I'm interested in to see exactly how we would be challenged and how we would respond to that because we haven't really had to deal with that. We've put a couple of other projects on the spot in a friendly way, just explaining the project in a sense. All projects that we have hosted on our AMAs are, really solid, respectable projects. So, you know, on that end of it, I haven't really had to go that way. But I'm just interested, Haley. How did you? I know you've seen the project around. I know you're in our fantasy football challenge as well. How have you been pronouncing Variegate in your mind? And you can be honest with us.
You are so, I knew you were going to make fun of me for this. So, of course, because I went to your chat earlier to double check this. And let me tell you that this stems from me being a technical recruiter for as many years as I have been, because I always find it very important to pronounce people's names correctly. You only get one name, and I don't care what nationality you are, what country you're from. I am going to do my best to pronounce your name correctly because I think it's important, right? So I have clearly been mispronouncing it because I've been calling it Variegate, which is definitely not how it's pronounced. And you guys said it's more of Variegate.
Yeah, it's more Variegate. And if we were on Twitter
Okay.
Spaces, I'd definitely be throwing, the little laugh emoji out a few times there. Variegate. It's like, Variah Carey Gate, like the picture.
That's right. And all I want for Christmas is a bull market. So let's go.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing it though. So maybe we can leave that up to Mike or Sean or one of the others here. But yeah, to answer your question, I will say beforehand, we do have several team members. There's not really one team member that I would say is the face of the project. Not initially, that's how we intended that to be. So we didn't want a CEO label. It's, are you passionate about BSC and are you passionate about developing a solid and respectable project that only wants to do good for their holders? There actually has been a couple of people come and go just because we felt like they were not committed to that. It's not a project that you can hop in once a week and say, "What's up?" and then you're gone for another week and then you hop back in. Really, we've made it clear if you're in our development room, you either work and you try to make our holders proud or you're simply not a part of our project. So currently, we are sitting at 10 team members. So I do want to put that clear, and I put it straight across the board. There really wouldn't be, a chain of command in a sense. We're all directly equal across the board. We all have our skills that we're good at and different things that we work on. But I just want to throw that out there as Mike and myself are introducing ourselves. But yeah, my name is Josh. I got into crypto. Of course, you can almost see it play out, but after the bull run of 2017, so as you know, at the end of that year, Bitcoin peaked at around 20,000, 21,000 or so, December of that year. So of course I hopped on in January, February timeframe of 2018. So, it started making the news. Bitcoin had its run up. Of course, a couple of others was doing very well. So I decided to hop on, and that was the start of the bear market. So initially, I got into a couple phantom. I was initially in. I wish I hadn't have sold. That would have been a couple of $100,000 last year off of just a probably $1,000 investment. Uh, Initially, I was into Telcoin. Found a couple others that just haven't quite made it over the years as well. I'm sure all of you guys, if you've been around a couple of years, have been a part of one of those. But rode the wave a little bit. Uh, the bear market kind of bit me. So 2019, 2020 or so, I kind of took a little break just from investing in crypto in general, and then started to kind of get back into it in 2020. Wrote a couple of different projects, and then early last year, I saw a project come up because Doge was making a run, and saw a project come up called Hoge, and I'm sure some of you guys have heard of that project. It's one of the initial self-reflecting, deflationary meme tokens, and it had a little bit of run up, and then it dumped, and I didn't honestly even have any clue what I was doing in terms of pancake swap. So made a purchase of about $600. Didn't even know what the market cap was or anything. I just knew that I had a buttload of tokens. So I was like, well, let's just see what happens. It's $600. And that thing, Hoge ended up running up to around 500 million market cap last March. And then it did it again, I believe, in May. So definitely rode that wave. That was kind of a crazy time. Then got into a couple other projects, and that's where I started to develop into somewhat, everybody's probably went through the transition a little bit. You became an admin. You started helping out a little bit more. You started to network, started to meet people. Along the way, though, you ran into some devs that weren't quite looking out for the project or your own best interest. And that's just really has been the development over several months until I met all of the guys and people a part of this project in early February. And really, fate brought us together in late January, early February or so. And we want to create a project that, again, we just want to make our holders proud. And, and here we are. We've been working since February or so, launched in May. And that's kind of where I am on my crypto journey.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there's actually a few of the guys that are on the core team that were in Hoj as well. I feel like I've heard that tossed around before. That predates me in this space for sure. All I've known is this very sad bear market. So I'm still waiting for, the upside, but I can be patient, luckily, and diamond hand and whatnot for as long as we
Probably
need to.
the best thing to happen. I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, man, like
Yep.
aside from meeting all these cool people and everything and being in Variegate, I would have loved to just come in now and had all that other money in my pocket that I put into the market over the past 2 years.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that this market in particular is really revealing kind of what everyone's true self is. Like if you it reveals how much patience you have for sure, and also kind of your ability to really handle the adversity and the constant swings. We talked about it a little bit last night on a seat at the table that I was hosting about the dopamine rush and all that craziness. And as high as the highs are, that's how low the lows are. So you got to have the stomach for this, which is ironic considering I was like borderline dying earlier today. But feeling better now and happy to continue holding all my bags, maybe to the detriment of all of my health. So
Say
tell
like
me a
a
little bit.
sorry, I was gonna say a long time in crypto for people is, a day. A day to them is
Oh
like a month.
God.
I've had this for a day. I don't know why it hasn't mooned yet.
Yeah, I mean, this is another thing that we've been talking about a lot lately is that people come in here and I think that it's been a very long there already for people. And they're just like, when is this going to end? When am I going to finally see the fruits of my labor here of holding? And that's why you see everyone's chart looks, I mean, there are a few exceptions. I mean, not for nothing. Dive Wallet's been holding a pretty solid floor. And I'm sure there's other coins like that. But the majority of new launches, if you look at what has happened in the past week in our space, everyone's getting wrecked on launch because every single person is going into a project and it's just like, well, we're going to see what we can squeeze out of this one because I need a quick win. And people are just forgetting the fact that most of these projects have really great use case utilities that are going to provide that generational wealth, which was kind of the reason we were all here in the first place. But I think it's just kind of lost a little shine for some people, but hopefully they'll come around a bit. Not to get too off topic, but let's talk about your project. Tell us a bit about how Variegate came to be, sort of a 10,000-foot view.
Sure, a 10,000 point view. And I do want to preface by saying the Variegate of today may not be the Variegate of 2 or 3 weeks from now, or even less. So I do want to say that, but the philosophy behind it, our intentions or goals of what service, or I guess service may not be the word, but maybe even tokenomics or purpose for a holder of the Variegate protocol won't change drastically. But yeah, Mike and I can kind of bounce back and forth. But again, we met back in late January, February or so. Wanted to create a project, again, from 10,000 foot view. We brainstormed what do we want to do over the multiple months. We did bring in team members that we thought would help us a lot. People like Original Mike. We brought in Sean, that's in the chat here, as an advisor. We brought in Douglas Dixon, that's an advisor as well, who has ran other projects, and we feel like we've got a solid team. We've brought in Rev, who really does great work. Pixel as well, who's in NFTs, and what we ended up deciding on is just a protocol, a contract where it can help someone own the bear market, because we knew we were entering into a bear market, and we also knew that the BSC was getting a bad rep, especially on the ETH side. I couldn't honestly tell you the last time I bought a project on ETH. I'm sure there's probably something that I'm missing out on, but it just, once you get used to being in BSC and you're running a project like we are, you don't venture off very much. But basically, our contract allows people to just hold the Variegate token, and it's all community determined by polls monthly, advice, new projects coming along that maybe even community members started that we feel has a lot of potential. But at the end of the day, we wanted to give people rewards in what they wanted. So it allows us to change that monthly. So again, at the end of the day, it's the power of the masses. Thousands of votes determine who these 5, 6, 7 rewards are every month.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you've ever been in a rewards token, the biggest downside of any rewards token is what it's rewarding. Because if it's not a diversified reward assortment there, and that one project or two tokens that it's rewarding tank, then you're pretty much left with your own project rewarding something that's pretty worthless. And so the idea came to us too, like, just let's reward something that's kind of like, community driven, community determined, and not have stuff that you're just trying to go out there just because it's got a lower market cap. Obviously, if you see the things we have rewarded and are rewarding, it's one of those things where it's a very diverse selection of things. You have, lower market cap, 50,000 or less, up to, a couple million. So trying to get that, so you're not running into the same issue we did, which was that we're in these other projects and tokens, not as members, obviously, or founders, but just as holders. And you're seeing like all the things, I guess, that they did wrong was the most beneficial thing that we took and applied as a team to do the opposite and take the things that we liked from solid projects. Like, I'm huge into Affinity, since the beginning, just like a lot of people that I see in here that are listening. And everything that team's done, especially Chris being the CEO, like taking all those great traits that he's demonstrated in applying them towards our project. And it's obviously done wonders. We have a very solid support base. Pretty much all of our, original pre-sailers that didn't sell after the initial hike are still with us, still supported Telegram, still shilling, and obviously getting the word out about Variegate.
Now you mentioned that it's community driven. I have seen you guys post the what is the word I'm looking for? The polls in the past, and give people the ability to make that choice. How do you sort of come up with your short list as far as who is going to be the teams to choose from that you're going to reflect in? And how often does that change?
It changes monthly. So right off the bat, anyone, let's just say like the current polling system we're in, anyone that is a current reward is automatically eligible for being in the poll the next month. So the top two people that are voted on every week out of all the tokens that are up there get advanced to the end of the month. And then at the end of the month, it's just a voting system to see the placement of it. But when all is said and done, those projects have either vetted by us as individuals or recommended to the community. Same thing here with Dive Wall. We were recommended by Keanu. You guys were recommended by Keanu. We looked into it, came to the Telegram, liked what we saw. I even liked it enough to go ahead and buy one of the diver NFTs. So I'm proud to have that and to see where you guys end up going. And it's just one of those things where if the community votes on it through the different channels that we have, which is Twitter, Telegram, Discord, and then Reddit, obviously the top two votes from there move on to the end of the month. So it's just worked out well. Every token that we've rewarded so far is still moving along nicely, has nice can in the bear market. And so that's pretty much it. We allow shilling too. Like if we've had a relationship with you, or like you guys, for example, like we'll promote whatever you have as long as we know you're a legitimate project. You're looking out for your community. You have the same end game, same goals that we do, obviously, to put out, a good product and a trustworthy product and just share the Unite DeFi mentality. Like we're more than happy to go ahead and promote whatever you have versus that maxi mentality you get in some of these telegrams where they don't even want you to mention or whisper the word of any other project.
Yeah, and a few of our taglines again: own the bear market, but then we also want to be the melting pot of the Binance Smart Chain. We want to be a community where if we understand you're in these other projects. Mike likes to call really crypto in general, but let's just focus on BSC, kind of like a mall. You go to the mall, maybe you want to buy a shirt, a specific shirt, but then you see a different store, across the way that catches your attention, and now you're interested in buying something in there. But it's not taking anything away from the other stores that are surrounding. All of these stores are available for people to shop in, and it attracts people to come there to that location. And we almost look like look at the Binance Smart Chain such as that. There's, we don't have to be set in our ways of you only have to hold our token or you only have to buy this token. There's a lot of different projects that have many different things to offer. And it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to fight each other over holders, but we could work together. How can we utilize each other's strengths to make a stronger DeFi space in the Binance Smart Chain? But yeah, we want to be a room to where you can come. We're shilling you. It's also a place where someone can come and shield their own project. That's a way for us to look into it, and that could be a way to get onto the onto the poll to be voted for that next month. If we have a couple of folks hop in the chat, hey, for an example, check out Dive Wallet. They're doing great things, and a couple of community members join. Yeah, we'll throw them on the polls. Again, then that's where we truly derive from that community determined aspect.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, we couldn't be in more agreements with you guys over here at Dive Wallet. We do a lot of this type of engagement. And again, we do our best to do our due diligence with any coins that we're bringing in to show our holders, because of course we want to do our strongest work here to make sure that we're protecting the people that have invested in us. So I'm sure you guys are doing something very similar, it sounds like. So basically what you're saying is I can come into your chat and I can chill dive wallet, but I can't come in there and just randomly promote, like, I don't know, for instance, that new Vitalik, penis grow token or whatever they called it after after that was released.
Well, that actually
You
sounds like something
you
Mike
could.
would be pretty interested in. So I don't know.
I
I
mean,
can't disclose whether or
different
not I'm a
strokes,
dev
right?
on that token. Yeah, I may or may not be a dev on that.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I'm surprised I'm not a mod over there yet, right? Um, so I did read the white paper earlier today, and I'm curious, what sort of outside of, really being able to vary the types of rewards that you'd be getting, what is really the big utility? Or is it just more so about being able to diversify your portfolio by purchasing one particular token? I know I do see that you guys have that micro staking feature. We can talk about that too. Tell me a little bit more about the actual project and what you guys are offering.
So the project in itself, in terms of its development, has been very fluid. So we have we've been creative in what we want our vision to be. So yeah, you mentioned the micro staking, and we can get into that. But yeah, at the end of the day, initially on the surface, we are a rewards token, but we also understand that the project can only be successful if there's volume, right? But at the end of the day, what we've noticed is if we continue to put our heads down and network, and we bring visibility of projects to other people who aren't aware of projects, the community continues to grow. So we've seen different levels. I guess it just depends on the hype of a project. So you see a project launch and their Telegram room has only been open for a week, and you're like, how in the world do they have 1,500 members in there? That's not quite how we started. It's been a slow grind, but we're slowly creeping up to 700 members now. But we have had several people just hop in the chat and say, look, I wouldn't know about X project if it wasn't for Variegate. I haven't heard about X project if it wasn't for Variegate. And we look at that and we say that is just as good of a just as good as a buy to us. If you see someone just hop in the chat and they've learned about a project just from being in our group and being in our networking circle, that is just as good as a buy. So not only is it just a rewards token, but again, it's a place for you to learn about other projects. It's a place for people to come in and share what's going on, share news, get the word out. We utilize our socials to help spread the word as well. And in a sense, I guess simply put, we are almost just like a free marketing place to get the word out about these projects.
Yeah, that was probably the weirdest thing. We started realizing how many people just charge for AMAs when we always had set out to do them for free. And every time you'd speak to someone, they're like, well, how much do you want? I'm like, oh, no, it's totally free. And this is weird, too, because this is actually the first night where we're talking. I think this is the longest we've talked about our project in I don't even know how long, Josh.
Don't worry, I'll send you guys my bill at the end of this. No worries. I don't want you to get too excited over the free AMAs. I'm just kidding.
It's like give them a
But
bit and then bring them back and charge them double what you would have.
that's right. Hey, I got two mouths to feed and a husband and all these things here, Got to make that money.
But yeah, in terms of development of the project, we've come up with several ideas in the background. We brought in Pixel, who brought in the NFT and the metaverse kind of aspect to the project, and we were playing with ideas on how we wanted to utilize that, utilize voting, etc. Just again, at the end of the day, just make it fun. How can we make determining what our rewards are fun for the community? We've kind of hit a wrinkle within the last month or so. So we've been working on something for the last month, and it's really going to change really how the project operates. It's going to be a big change for us, and I'm trying not to release too much, if you can kind of tell.
Say the trajectory is going in the right direction. It's just one of those things where we can't really fully reveal everything. We had a lot of things planned, and we had things that we pretty much had contracted out for the most part to get quotes on, and that stuff may not be happening now, but the other stuff that is happening will definitely offset that and probably be more beneficial to our holders and obviously anyone else that decides to join along the ride.
Yeah, basically, simply what we were wanting to accomplish, we are still going to be able to accomplish, but it's just a different road that we're taking, if that makes sense. And we think it's a road that is shorter. Maybe instead of taking the curvy road where we get lost and then we have to do, a turnaround and then we run out of gas and then we have to find someone to bring us gas and then we pop a tire. Maybe now we're driving in a new vehicle on the interstate and we get there much quicker. We get there much efficient. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I was hoping you'd, slip up and reveal a little more about what's coming, but that's okay. I won't dig too hard on that. Tell us a little bit about the tokenomics behind the project.
So the tokenomics on the current protocol, or simply put, the current contract, we do have just a 1 billion supply. We do have a 8% buy fee, 6% goes to rewards, and 2% to the project. We wanted the majority of the fee to just go to rewards. So we didn't want an insane 15%, 5%, 10% to the dev wallet. Sales are 12%. So we just up the sell fee by 4%, and that is just directly rewards. So again, 8% for buys, 6% for rewards, and then on the sell aspect, it's 12% fee, 10% rewards. And then we do have micro staking in as well. So it is a minimum of 500,000 Vari that you have to hold to be eligible for the rewards pool. So you guys probably know how that operates. The rewards build up to a certain threshold and then sell as BNB, and then it gets divided amongst the holders in terms of their percentages. At Variegate, if you hold 500,000, so your initial buy, you're only eligible for 50% of those eligible rewards. Each day that you hold and don't sell, buying doesn't reset this, but each day that you hold and don't sell, it adds 1% to your micro staking. So if you hold 50 days after buying and you can buy throughout that period, of course, it doesn't really do anything at that point, but other than up your percentage that you're potentially getting, then you'll get to 100% of your maximum potential of the micro staking. If you sell, it drops you back down to 50%. So if you're holding with a couple other people, of course, we got more than a couple of holders, but if you're holding with a couple other people and then you both buy at the same time and you're both at 50% and you both have that 1% that's being added, that is still getting divided up amongst you. But then as soon as one or maybe even two of those people sell and it drops them back down to 50%, but you're still holding and now maybe you're getting 60, 70, up to 100%, you could even be eligible to get more rewards than you would have otherwise if everybody was just getting the 100% of their potential. So it's pretty cool how it's hard coded into the contract. We are capable of changing reward slots every day, so we can just change that on the fly if we want. Some security features: it does take 2 or 3 admins to make serious changes to the contract in terms of whitelisting a wallet. We're not able to change the fees. The fees are what they are. Let's see, we're not able, there's a lot of security features within the contract that makes the holder feel secure. We couldn't change, we couldn't make the tax or fee 99% if we wanted to. We're just not able to change that. Um, Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say no blacklisting, like you said, multi-sig for any of the other stuff, and then the LP is locked up as well for 50 years, Josh.
Yep. So we set that at 50 years. We want to make a statement to say, we're not really interested in going anywhere. There's a big change that's coming, but yeah, the liquidity is not quite where we wanted it. There's probably a couple things that we would have changed. Again, the more you're in this space, the more you learn. As I'm sure everybody in this chat knows, you're not the same person in this space that you were a month ago, let alone 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. You learn a lot of things along the way. So there's probably a couple of things we would have done differently, but yeah, we did lock liquidity for 50 years. And yeah, again, Variegate, we want to make a statement that, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that all sounds great to me. I did look and saw that there were a few different ways to buy the token as well, and it looks like you guys have your own swap too. Are there any, benefits for current holders of Variegate for people to purchase directly on the swap? Does any percentage of that go back to holders, or where does that, where does the funds from that go to? Because there's always a small percentage of that tax that's going to go back somewhere. So where does that sort of end up?
Sure. So of course you guys can, use Pancake Swap, and that will apply the fees that I just mentioned, or you can use Adapt, and that will be the same fees as well. And Adapt with Affinity is a very safe place to buy Variegate. But then we also had a swapper developed by True DeFi. They provided that swapper for us, and we wanted to utilize that to help with development funds. So we did have some things in the backlog that, simply put, ideas that we wanted to accomplish to continue to develop the project, of course. But it's some of these things that we needed done. We just didn't have the resources within the current team. So we did outsource. Again, networking is what we do. So we know the people to go to if we want something done right. We know who to go to if we need something done efficiently. So we were in discussion with those folks. Of course, it's not free though. They're not charging arm and leg, but if they're only charging, an elbow, we still have to pay the elbow. So we utilize that very swap. Essentially, if somebody uses that, all they do is, if you go into the Variegate Telegram, / very swap, VARI swap, and then that address pulls up. It tells you what to do. But simply enough, say you just want to send a quarter BNB. There's an address that's there. You just simply send that BNB from your wallet, and then the Variegate gets sent, directly back. So you don't have to use Pancake Swap, you don't have to use Adapt, etc. It just simply sends back to you. And what it does, we do have a higher fee on that, which is 20%. And that BNB is pulled out and is sent to the dev wallet. But then we come back in behind it and we tally up what that difference was. And then we send that back to the holder. So we are rewarding folks for helping us with their dev funds by essentially providing them a way to buy with zero fees. So we do have we have a percentage of the supply in the dev wallet that we can send that back out to the person that used the swap, and it is essentially like they're buying with zero fees. But in return, we're still getting BNB, and then the person, the holder, is getting more tokens than they would have otherwise.
Yeah, that was more too out of a necessity, given the fact like you were in a bear market, so the threshold for the rewards contract to sell off obviously takes a lot longer. And if you have different things you want to accomplish and don't have the funds to do it, obviously personal funds have to be used, which in our case they have been used before. But that being said, wanted to find an easier way versus having to continually reach into our pocket to accomplish something that we're trying to do for the better good of the community.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really smart idea to have the swap set up in such a way that you're literally rewarding holders to have the tax pretty much go right back into their pocket. I haven't seen that done to that extent too often, but I mean, I don't, it seems like a no-brainer to me. And it's funny because recently, I forgot which coin it was. I'm not going to name names anyway, but someone else was like, oh, buy it on such and such swap. And I saw that the fees were so high. And it was my first time purchasing through, their swap. And I literally was like, I'm not doing this. And I went back to Pancake Swap and purchased what I wanted to purchase through there. And then I found out after the fact that they were doing something similar. And I was like, well, I'm an idiot, but also you guys didn't tell me. So, like, where is the communication here? So, how are you guys doing that portion of it? What are you doing to make sure that your current and future holders know that this is an option for them?
Sure. So they wouldn't otherwise know about the swapper unless they are seeing it promoted in the chat. So, they're not going to know the address that they would send to without the additional information that's there as well. So pretty much, if they're sending BNB to that contract, they know what they're getting into. They know what they're doing. They know that it's win-win on their end. They know, okay, I'm helping out a project that I like, that we're friends with, that we're networking with, we're helping them develop. I'm holding this, so I want to see what they've got in their back pockets to, again, make this project fun for myself since I'm holding the token. And then they're also getting more, tokens at the same time than they otherwise would have if they were using Pancake Swap or any other avenue. So, it's one of those things where, you're not going to have random people just sending BNB to the address and they don't know what they're doing. It would be kind of hard to, have that really happen. So people that are using the Swap, they know what they're accomplishing, and they also know they're going to get more tokens while they're also helping out a project that they like, and that they like the people developing it as well.
Awesome. And is the team fully doxxed? I know you said that you consider everyone that's, a participant in this group as part of the team, but the core team, I would say, are you guys doxxed? Is there a KYC? Is there an audit on the contract? Take me through that a bit.
Well, we don't currently have a KYC, and then the audit on the contract, we haven't done the audit. We had plans to do so, but I keep referencing something that we've got coming up where it just really wouldn't make sense to do an audit on the current contract. But someone who knows how to recode, which I understand not everybody knows how to do, or a lot of people know how to do, but you can read that and kind of see these security features in place to where you could read our code and say, okay, this is a safe contract that I can buy into. Or some of the quotes that we got from an audit standpoint, we really need to balance how we used our funds. Mike mentioned, I mean, there were weeks where we were all waiting until payday from our normal, our normal everyday jobs, just so we could finish up some of the stuff that we're working on. We were literally paying out of our own pocket. So, okay, do we spend $3,000 to continue to maybe be able to spend on this audit? And honestly, and I'm not going to down talk anybody, and I really don't have anybody in mind that I want to down talk, but we have seen audits come through on projects that ended up being scams, and the audits were good. For an example, we've seen trading paused on contracts within the last month or two who had good audits, and then there were issues with it. So they weren't really audits that I even trusted to begin with. So we were like, well, we could spend this money on development because I think our holders knew that we weren't doing anything nefarious, or we could spend this money and get an audit to where I think they honestly pencil whip it. And that's just my opinion. It may not be everybody's, but honestly, if we were going to do an audit, if we didn't have the plans in place to relative to what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks, I'd probably hit up True DeFi and we would go through their extensive audit. But there's really no point in us doing that currently. In terms of being doxxed, there are several team members with their faces in their profile picture. You can pull up mine. I think I've got 2 or 3 different ones that are there. That's literally my face. We're doxxed pretty much to ourselves. I mean, Mike was texting me earlier. We know our full names, we know our phone numbers, but that's not really something that we're just posting in the chat every day, because uh, there's still scammers going around. We just caught someone using my username this morning, and Matt, that's on the team's username this morning. I don't really feel comfortable just posting my full name, address, etc., just around. But in terms of being fully doxxed, I guess to answer your question, I would say no, but I don't think anybody is really hiding anything either.
Yeah, that being said, too, I've pretty much disclosed enough information about me. You can go through the old AMAs, and I've even seen Josh is a real person. I've seen his MySpace page. He's very fond of me. Checking that out back in the day.
You can't be
But
bringing up the old MySpace from when I was 16, man. Come on.
but you can figure out who we
I,
are
I
pretty
wonder if
easily.
Tom is in crypto. Tom from MySpace. He's got to be a crypto holder in some regard, right?
Yeah, he's got to be doing something where he just banked all that
Definitely.
MySpace.
Mike
Well, I
likes
mean,
to
that's fine,
Mike likes to search my name and then pull up a MySpace account from when I was 16 years old back in the mid 2000s, and yeah, we won't get into that, but appreciate you bringing that up, Mike.
Yeah, it definitely dates a few of us on here to be talking about MySpace. We had a
Yeah,
similar conversation in another chat talking about LimeWire and Napster recently, and I was like, oh my goodness, yes, bringing
only
back the memories.
because I'm looking at the screensaver on my computer right now. That's why. And it's you, Josh.
Yeah, I could definitely tell when I went into the chat earlier with you guys, there is a lot of love in your community, very similar to us. And, like I said earlier in this, in this AMA, you guys have really taken a similar path as we have, trying to unite DeFi in a sense that we also allow other qualified projects to present, in a sense of AMAs. We're fine with people soft shilling, so to speak, in our chat. And especially if it's teams that we have, worked with in the past, have previous relationships with. But there's still such a stigma out there of so many other projects just not coming around to this, not being supportive of this. How do you think we at Dive Wallet, you guys at Variegate, how do you think we can, continue to encourage other teams in this space to really come around to this? Because what I've been saying, and I've been saying this for months and months and months now, we are so much better together. We will all get rich together. there's more than enough money to go around and plenty of DeFi to go around. You know, how are we going to bring all of them together? How are we going to kind of turn everyone's head and make sure that this is the way we move forward? Because I don't see us prospering if we do it the way that certain teams are doing it. And I'm just curious on, your take on that.
Well, I think kind of to your point, it's more of a fear factor on their end because they may have a project like Josh said before, like if someone comes into our group and they don't buy, they don't become a holder, but they just obviously educate themselves on our project, the other projects out there, the security. I know, like I see Selena in here. She's from Raider Token. She's big on like promoting obviously safety of, projects and contracts and everything, making sure people are buying into stuff that's not going to be a rug. Same thing with you guys wanting a safe, secure wallet for people to use. It's really easy to understand. It's really the education piece. So if they don't want to hop on with that, then usually there's some kind of hidden agenda there, or they know that the project itself isn't necessarily something that is good for long-term growth and obviously sustainability. So I feel like in those cases, you probably won't sway the people that are running those projects, but if you can obviously educate the people that are holders in those projects, not to get them to abandon the project, obviously, that's not any of our goals to take that money and just play musical projects with it and you keep rotating from one project to the next, seeing if you can obviously sustain yourself and while at the same time making some profit. But just getting education out there, letting people know, and then bringing them into these different projects. I've seen so many people, I've had so many DMs. I actually had someone before for the ShadowFi pre-sale that happened. They couldn't buy. They're comfortable with me. They know me. I said, listen, if you want to send me the money, send me the money. They sent it. I bought them the ShadowFi. I'm transferring it after this AMA to them, but stuff like that. So super helpful, obviously, to gain the trust of the community and let them know, obviously, that you're there to help them out in any way you can. And that's hopefully these other projects, when you reach out, you have AMAs like this, they listen, they could maybe say, oh, that's so weird. I didn't think that you could actually accomplish the same thing just by being, upfront, educational, and, reaching out or allowing other people to have this open communication line.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to kind of somewhat what we were talking earlier. We've, and I'm not saying we as in Variegate, but really the Unite DeFi space has created a network. And I think over time, to this point, now it's becoming a large network, almost to the point to where if you don't, and participate's not really the word, it's networking, it's engaging in what that truly means. That if you're not participating in that, or if you don't really believe in that, people are kind of moving on from you. And it almost leaves a sour taste in people's mouths. So it's, if you're unfriendly, I mean, look, the people that we network within this circle, they're they're in 4 or 5 or more, 6, 7, 8 different Telegram groups every day, chatting about that project and what it's developing, or just even general conversation. So if you're not down with someone that's coming in your chat and they're holding other tokens, well, that person's probably not going to continue to keep coming around. So it's almost one of those things. If you either hop on and you're part of the movement, or you may end up getting left behind, because this space does change a lot. It changes quickly, and it's not 2020, and it's also not March 21 either. So I think it's definitely changing for the positive, and also makes a safer space, because if someone enters this Unite DeFi networking circle, they know which projects are safe. They're not going to get rugged. They know what they're buying. Variegate alone has probably got 40, 45 AMAs available for people to listen to determine if, do their own research if they want to buy something. So again, it's almost one of those things you either participate, be a part of, or, you may end up getting left behind this next bull run, which in return causes your project to not be successful. It's like back to the mall. Do you want to
Yeah.
be a part of one of the stores where everybody's coming into and can give you a place for you to shop at? Or are you going to create your own little store down the road that nobody's showing up to?
Yeah, to your point too, Josh, like the other thing that I think we've done really well with the networking is guide certain devs of other projects to the sources that they need to accomplish what they want to accomplish when they're not able to on their own. And I know Chris from DeFi Skeptic has definitely helped with us and a lot of other groups. And it's one of those things where building that network, you see all the strengths that all these other projects, have, and you can go ahead and feel comfortable recommending someone to them, knowing that they're going to be in good, safe hands in that same like circle of Unite DeFi.
Yeah, I mean, I can send you to Dive Wallet. I can send you to Affinity. I could send. Okay, I have a friend that says, Josh, I always hear you talking about crypto. Give me a couple of projects that I can look into where I know I'm not going to get scammed, and I actually know what I'm buying and what their purpose is and what their utilities are. Or even if it's just a meme token and the community's badass, and I'm going to have fun if I enter into the community, into the Telegram, get on Twitter, and it's good people that I can chat with every day in the space, and who can even give me advice on how to use Pancake Swap, or how to look out for scams, or how to deal with people DMing me that I don't know. Again, we can send people to certain places and feel trusted, doing so. If back to Hailey's, wiener growth token in you, I'm not going to send people that way. Have they came in? Have they networked? Has, do I see any of their community members in Affinity? Am I seeing them in true DeFi? Am I seeing them in block blend? Probably not. And that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, and actually, the Chris over at DeFi Skeptic, one of their big selling points is their vetting process. And to him, like with his whole process, he views the vetting piece of the team just as crucial, if not more, than the contract itself. Because, yeah, you can see a contract, but to Josh's point before, there have been plenty of contracts that look good, pass audits, and then the team either rugs it somehow or just drives into the ground by just bad leadership. And so that's one of the services they offer, and they have a lot of vetted projects. And yeah, it's one of those things where you feel comfortable, obviously, knowing that there are these people out there that are looking over more than just like simple black and white stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can pass an audit, but not have a good team. You can have a team that maybe they had a hype launch, and then they got that 5-10 grand to go get an audit that's, you know, in quotes, respected. I think that's starting to change a little bit, but a respected audit that, the reason there's no reason for it to cost that much to begin with, but then they go and spend that money, and then 3 months later, well, initially they utilize that, release of that audit just to gain more hype and pump the token. But then 3 months later, the team is nowhere to be found. So an audit doesn't really do anything about how good a team is. The team may be gone in 3 months. Okay, you have a good contract, but nobody's working on the project. There's no development. What good does it do at that point?
Yeah, I kind of love the idea of you guys, it sounds like you're already doing this, but I love the idea that it's not just a place to go kind of learn about other great projects, obviously get rewards in these other great projects, but also a place for education in general. When I first started in this space, well, first and foremost, my husband and I found DeFi because we got rugged. Not rugged. Well, I shouldn't say rugged. We got scammed in a Solana Discord chat of all places. And it was one of those things that was just an initial eye-opening experience. And I was like, why isn't there a single human in this entire chat that's just like willing to actually help someone new come into the space? Because I knew the statistics. I knew that only, 4.3% of the world population was involved in crypto. And I'm like, if they are looking for mass adoption, why are there not more people willing to just help out and teach other people how to do this? And when I finally, really got into the space, I would say that was November-ish of 2021. That was a big initiative that I was pushing for. I was, really focused on helping anyone new that came into the space, making sure they were welcome, making sure they knew to never answer DMs, making sure they knew to always ask questions in the main chat. And it wasn't even really something a lot of other people were doing. And then the more I started saying it, other people started also doing it. Not that I'm like some pioneer of a movement or anything, but like it was something that just sort of started taking shape. And I love that you guys are also very focused there. You want to make sure that people are purchasing smartly. They're not going out to get rugged. They're not going to go out and, you know, buy off of a bad contract or just do something stupid in this space because there's so many ways that you can get screwed here. And we need more good actors and way less bad actors. So, I kind of love that you guys don't have like an official major utility coming out or anything. I mean, who needs another NFT marketplace? Can I be very honest about that? I'm so sick of seeing NFT marketplace as someone's utility.
Well, Hailey, now that you say that, we actually have this brand new wallet coming out, and it's going to be the best wallet. I'm just joking.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask actually, I was looking at your roadmap, and in phase 3, it says seek potential partnerships. So I'm curious what sort of partnerships you guys are seeking. Not that you got to sign us up on day one here, but what are you really seeking to gain from those partnerships, and what type of partnerships are you looking for? What does that really mean to Variegate to have partnerships in this space?
I think we've kind of found it, but I think we jumped into phase three already there with what we have going on in the background.
Yeah, Haley, I'll tell you, it's probably February 2022, and we've got 7 or 8 guys who want to make a project and who want to make their holders proud. So that is Josh sitting at his computer and putting together a vision and a white paper. So that's what you're currently looking at. And the thing is, really, the landscape of this project has changed a ton, and we are due a new white paper there. Just there's a lot of moving components at the moment that's just holding that up. But in terms of partnerships, we've already networked and made a ton. We're on Useless's All for One app. We have a heavy partnership with RocketFi, and we're on their DApp. We are partnered. I would even say, we've got Selena in here. We're partnered with Raider Token. We've got a lot of friends that are there in that community. We're partnered with Affinity. We're on Adapt. We just today ETHBurn launched that they're partnering with us. And again, I think it all really stems back to this. And I know I'm leaving a ton of people out, off the top of my head, but it all really stems back to this Unite DeFi movement. And that is what the true partnership is, building this safe networking circle of solid projects to where that's not really our initial intention. But once a new person enters this market and they enter into our networking circle, it's really going to give them a path to be extremely successful in this space.
Yeah, and the other thing too that's nice is now at this point in the game, unless it's a new project we haven't spoken to, the majority of the projects out there have been coming to us to have us host an AMA for them just because of our exposure. Obviously, Telegram we don't do as much anymore, but mainly the Twitter spaces we do. We record them like you're recording this. We release them onto YouTube as well as onto podcast format. So pretty much any podcast you have out there, you could find the Variegate Crypto Podcast.
And, I feel like I can't remember if you guys have been on it before. I know that you don't usually do a lot of pitching of your own project because you're usually hosting other people, but have you guys presented on the pit yet?
It doesn't sound familiar. Say that again. Would you say the
Todd Hart, DeFi Connection, and Honey Badger host an event on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern called the Pit. And basically, it's people who are either investors or mods of a project. They get 5 minutes to pitch their project and kind of present it to the masses. It's a great way to bring new people in and kind of put your project on the map. So something I would totally suggest for you guys if you want to, gather some more great people in this space to, really find out more about Variegate. I would definitely suggest reaching out to the team. You can reach out to me, obviously. I work with them too. And I can definitely get you guys in on that. But it's just a great place to present projects. And what's interesting about that is the project that wins, because there's typically 3 to 4 presenters, and whoever has the best presentation, there's a week worth of voting. You get the whole community engaged, and whoever wins actually gets their project featured within another token's rewards, essentially, for I believe it's either a week or a month. So kind of similar to what you guys are doing, but on maybe a slightly broader scale. So it just seems like a decent fit and something that you guys should consider, getting yourselves involved with, because I think this is just fantastic as a project. Personally, I think that any way we can continue to bring all of these projects together, any way we can continue to unite DeFi, as we always say, that is definitely a great main focus. And again, no NFT marketplace, right? So I just think that would be a really great medium for you guys to potentially have one of your strong investors come in and try and push their luck there and see how engaged you can get the community going.
I nominate Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Canada would be great at that.
Yeah, you mentioned that name. Would you say it was Todd Hart? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually saw he was live earlier. I saw that come across Twitter, but yeah, for sure, we're definitely, like you mentioned, we're not really used to discussing our own project. We usually, yeah, we'll give 30 seconds to a minute about what we do, and typically people that are on the AMAs understand our purpose. But yeah, we'll definitely have to check that out and get on there. And you know,
Yeah, I think it's great exposure.
yeah, and like we mentioned here initially, we want to do every decision that we make. It is in the best interest of the project and the people that are holding it. So what we have coming up over these next couple of weeks, we felt we came to a crossroads in where we wanted to take the project. And again, I think we were wanting to get to the same location, but we think that this next step will allow us to achieve that much more efficiently with the resources that are available. So it, we'll have a lot to be able to in terms of spaces such as that to where we're going to be promoting the project. I think we're making the best decision when it comes to the holders. So definitely once we kind of make this happen over the next month or so, we'll definitely be hopping on spaces such as those.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you guys could do a great job with that for sure. And it's fun to get the community involved and, get one of your big time holders up there presenting. It's a very low pressure situation and it puts you in front of a much bigger audience. Usually something in the 1 to 200 person range listens to that live and then eventually here's the recording on that. So it's quite a number of people that probably don't know a lot about Variegate at this point. Um, a lot of those people probably think it's pronounced variah-gate, just throwing that out there. Um,
Or maybe just one person. So you said
Don't
that's
make fun of me.
every Wednesday. Yeah, I guess. Oh, yeah, I saw that earlier. So every Wednesday afternoon, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't actually host it this week, but next week it'll be back. So, yeah, definitely something to consider. So I wanted to open the floor up though, see if anyone else had any questions. I'm excited to hear from some people in our community that might want to know a little bit more or have any questions for you guys or anyone from your community as well. Don't all volunteer at once, guys.
Yo, I got a question.
Sure, go right ahead.
Like, what was the market cap? What's the market cap?
I don't look at the chart a whole lot, honestly. I believe the market cap currently is in the 200,000 range.
Oh, great, great, great. That's really awesome. It's quite a nice project. Like, I love it.
Yeah, market cap is 203 and 16. That's what it is right now. 203,000.
Yeah, I think we've been really the poster child for, yeah, if you want to take the organic growth route, it it's tough. If you don't pay for callers and pay for the marketing, it's a tough road. But that is the road that we chose to take. But at the end of the day, we've also only been live since Memorial Day. Mike mentioned earlier, one day is like 1 month in this space. We've only been live for how long ago was that? Let's see, 3-4 months. But it's been pure organic. I think we've got maybe 130, 140 holders or so. We've been kind of moving between that 150 to 250,000 market cap for a few months now. You're starting to see the Telegram slowly build. We're up to around getting close to about 700 members. We regularly see about 100 to 120 online every day, which is good. You'll get into some of these telegrams where they'll have 2,000 members and there's 50 people online. So you can tell that bought some bots or whatever to kind of make their numbers a little inflated. Twitter, we're up to, I think, 650, 660 range. So everything's purely organic. They're real people. We're just trying to network, make friends, learn about these different projects, and then along the way, be honest and try to build a solid project. And, if you want to see the true organic route, that's what we're doing. It's not the easiest route to take, but I like the route that we're taking. So yeah, we're hovering around that 200,000 market cap at the moment.
Yeah, and we've taken the same approach. A lot of people listening in know this, but I mod like 6 billion chats on Telegram, and I have been in situations where we've gotten these massive bot attacks. And when it's all said and done, I look to the team and I'm in the admin chat. I'm like, guys, we got to get rid of all these bots. And they're like, no, it's fine. The numbers are fine. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, people are going to come in and they're going to see this and they're going to see that you have, like you said, 50, 80 people who are active online and 6,000 people in the chat, and they're going to know it's bullshit. And, that's not the way to present your project, especially now, because everyone's looking for a reason not to go in on a project, I feel like, especially when it's a good project with a real utility, like we were talking about earlier. When you have these real use case utility projects, that's not really the biggest sell for people, it seems, in the last month or so, because everyone's tired. We're all looking for that quick, degen play, pump and dump nonsense. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not good. Um, but I see things like that and I'm instantly like thinking of the optics behind it and how is this going to look to someone brand new to crypto or someone brand new to, our community or this community or that community. And it's just something that I always tend to focus on. So I'm very appreciative that you guys are kind of in that same school of thought because I thought I was alone in that thought because I feel like I've been spinning my wheels a lot with that lately.
I think a lot of us are going to be in this same boat once this next bull run, comes back around. You'll have the Bitcoin halving. Again, not financial advice, of course, but I wouldn't think any of us would still be on the call if we didn't think it'd eventually start moving back in the right direction. But it's going to be funny here in about a year and a half, 2 years, or however long it takes. You're going to know who's been around and then who hasn't, because the whole 3,000 Telegram members versus 30 people online trick, that worked probably on a lot of us last year. But once this next bull run comes around, we're going to be able to fish that stuff out. And that's just one example of many. But we're going to know, who's what people are pulling, what people are doing. There's going to be some new projects pop up, and you're going to be able to, as soon as you even see that they are introducing the pre-sale, there's going to be signs right off the bat, even with their pitch about what they're putting out for that pre-sale. You're going to say, oh, okay, I've seen this before. We know what you're doing, but you're going to have those new people, whereas we were just new here within the last couple of years or so, and we saw those same things and we probably fell for it. It's going to be funny to see that play out, and then a lot of us are going to be able to call some of those things out.
Yeah, it's usually like the push too. Like you'll see when you're trying to look for like the legit Telegram, if you're just searching by an actual name, you'll just assume that the Telegram that's got 40,000 members it must be the legit one. And nope, that's typically all the scam ones are the first three you see anyway until you actually expand it if you're not clicking on like the actual website for the project and finding the direct link. But yeah, like we pride ourselves, to your point, Haley, I think we had one night, one of the projects that was in the poll asked for support by some other group, and then we started to get botted. So we DQ'd the votes they had, and we kicked out the 100 bots that came in. So I'd rather have a lower number with actual users than just some bloated number that means nothing.
Could not agree more. Awesome. Well, anyone else have any questions for Mike or for Josh or even for myself and Dive Wallet?
Me. Yep. Before no one's gonna volunteer themselves just yet, maybe they could think of a really good question. but I want you just to explain the diver NFTs to people and what that means and what that does, since I think it's a really cool utility you guys are adding to the wallet.
Yeah, so the NFTs, well, first of all, the artwork is amazing on them. I personally have one with a really cool manatee on it, and he has this look on his face like he has run out of all of his fucks with, which totally speaks to my soul. So I happen to really love my Divers Club NFT. But essentially, what we've done is we ran probably about maybe 2 months or so, we ran a private sale for the NFTs first and foremost. They were about $50 cheaper than they are now. And anyone who had purchased during the private sale, we are allowing them to have access to beta test the wallet. We are going to be doing an NDA that people will have to, voluntarily sign for that because, there's a lot of proprietary stuff that they'll be able to see. And of course, they'll be kind of on the inner workings of things. So anyone who was a part of that will have to also sign that NDA. But the NFTs are now out for the public. They are $250 a piece, and they're available at diversclubnft.com. And what they are doing is you actually, if you own one of the Divers Club NFTs, you get an extra 1% in reflections. And what we've done is we've essentially adjusted the taxes to reflect the 1% to NFT holders. So we dropped the liquidity pool tax from 2% to 1% for anyone who has a NFT. So if you're part of that pool, you get the extra 1% in reflections. And we already offer, pretty incredible tokenomics for our project. We're currently offering, I believe it's 13% on the reflection rate. So to have an additional percentage on top of that, it's pretty significant. Just like everyone else out there, we have fairly low volume right now, but you look at in our chat, and I'll bring it up the best way I know how, which is by calling it stupid chart. Thank you. Shout out to Muzz, of course, for making that easy for me. But that's our reflections chart. And if you look, if the price is pretty sweet right now to pick up additional Dive Wallet, it's really not going to take a whole heck of a lot of volume to make some significant money in this project. And having that NFT puts you up an additional percentage point. So kudos to Gavin for making that happen for us. Originally, it was supposed to only be 0.5%, and then on the day he released it, he kind of dropped that bomb on all of us. None of us on the core team even knew he was doing that, so it was a big surprise that we were getting the full additional percentage rather than the 0.5%. But yeah, so it's pooled in an external wallet, sent to the distributor contract periodically, and the rewards are sent exclusively to the NFT holders after a certain threshold is reached. So that is how that works. And there's tons available still. And again, they're really cool. I'll share my cool one in the chat so you guys can see them.
Are they still going to be giving a percentage of advertisement as well, like they were talking in the beginning?
Say that again.
And I asked if this is Mike Cole. How you doing? I was asking if they're still planning on giving a percentage of the advertisement revenue.
Oh, from the actual wallet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's still in the plans. I don't foresee. I've not heard anything to the contrary.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, Gavin's not on the call, so I don't want to speak in definitives because he's not here to correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't believe that we've changed anything at this point on that.
Yeah, I can attest to that. That's still in the works. So when we start ramping up advertising, 20% will be going back to the holders, and 10% is directly back to you in the form of rewards, like you're getting now, like 13%. And then the other 10% is going to go back into buybacks and burns. And they're going to have a nice chunk of it that's going back into product development and whatnot. But that's something that we haven't gotten rolling yet because the wallet's not quite out yet. And I'm not even sure that the revenue generating ads and whatnot that we're talking about, I don't think that's going to be live in version 1. We're really just focused on trying to get as much of the promised things on the roadmap out by end of Q3. And so we're slated to start beta testing very soon. And then soon after that, we should have a wallet in use. And then everybody should be excited and jump up and down like I'm gonna.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to, check our pins. I'll try and grab it real quick. But seriously, watch the video that Gavin shared, the YouTube video. I'm going to actually just tag it right now. This video. It is unbelievable what the wallet looks like. And listen, at the end of the day, we know who we're up against. We know we're up against Trust Wallet. We know that we have MetaMask to contend with. These are proven names in this space, but I just don't know how anyone can see this UI versus, the boring black and white screen of a Trust Wallet and the non-existent features that they have and not want to make the switch. I know that adoption is always going to be what any new team is up against, but it's just so far superior. And you guys will see it so clearly. Watch the video. It's, something like 8 or 9 minutes long. It's definitely worth your time. You can really check out the functionality, and it's truly remarkable what we've been able to accomplish as a team. We're definitely that little engine that could kind of project, and it's been really incredible. And kudos to our holders who have just totally stuck by this team through everything, not wavering, and not only just to the holders, but the rest of the core team too, because the way that we've gotten here is through transparency. We never make any moves as far as contract moves go without telling everyone first. We tell everyone when it's happening, while it's happening, after it's happened. I mean, the amount of transparency that happens on this team, there's a reason that we are still here and we are where we are right now, and why our chart, looks fairly decent in comparison to a lot of others out in the space. So, give us a shot, check us out. Definitely check out that video. And if you feel so inclined, by all means, buy some Dive Wallet. It's a great price right now.
Yeah, great community too. Like I just know from stopping in there, obviously I'd like to stop in more when I, have free time, which is non-existent nowadays. But that's probably one of the greater things I find, like in the whole like Unite DeFi movement, is like the communities have that same vibe where just holders themselves are super helpful. The devs are super helpful and interactive within the chat. So always nice to see that. Very welcoming and inviting. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you guys are always welcome. Feel free to post any links, whatever the case may be, anything you guys think is, worthwhile to share. Our chat is your chat. So I got to find a way to say that in Spanish so it sounds cooler. But, feel free to post whatever you need to post. And, we know you guys are good people. So we're happy to share our chat with you. And hopefully we can do the same over at Variegate. Any other questions from the crowd?
Hey, I had something. I hope Variegate has you guys on soon for an AMA. Your project sounds really interesting.
Thank you. That's very much appreciated.
And my next question is for Mike and Josh. When will we hear more information about what's coming down the pipe? Hopefully soon.
Yeah, I think it's very soon, right, Josh? Is that what we discussed in the chat earlier?
Yeah, I think we're getting that solidified, but it could be as soon as next week. But we'll let you know as soon as we know.
Thanks.
Thank you, Selena. Thank you for being a great community member. We love you.
Yep, I hang around projects I enjoy, so.
All right. Anyone else? All right, cool. Well, I definitely want to thank you guys both for coming and, joining us this evening. Hopefully I wasn't too hard on you. I said I would be easy on you though. So, you're probably lucky that I've not been feeling my best self today. I couldn't put you through the major ringer of the line of questioning of usual. But definitely keep in touch with us. Let us know as things matriculate on your end, and we'll be seeing you guys around on the chart. And we really appreciative of you guys being here.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
appreciate
certainly
you having us
appreciate
on, and appreciate you taking it easy on us. And I would like to say, you took it easy on us tonight, but we're not going to take it easy on you, come fantasy football. So just want to let you know that.
Yeah, I know. We owe you some tokens too. Don't think I don't notice that every day when I see the chat pop up. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta send them tokens.
Thanks for having us on. Great AMA. Great. I would like to say great questions, by the way. I mean, you were a great host. As someone that has to do these pretty often, I know how difficult it can be at times, depending on the project and how much you know about it and who you're talking to. I just want to say you did a great job, and thanks for having us on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to do my research before speaking with anyone, so I definitely did that with you guys. And again, our chat is your chat, so don't be a stranger.
Thank you again. Thank you everyone for listening. It's always cool to actually hear some voices. As fun as it is to see our faces at times or our avatars to actually speak to people. So thanks again.
I don't talk very much during these things. I kind of just sit to the side, but I orchestrate a lot of things in the background. So, Mike, look for the DM. We'll be setting one up for Diebold to come through your spot.
Very cool. Thank you.
All right. Well, everyone have a good night. We'll see you guys. Oh, and actually, before I sign off, just one last thing. We are doing another AMA tomorrow, Thursday, right? Is that tomorrow? That is tomorrow. And we have, yes, we have Leanne from Meta Arcade tomorrow. So join us again tomorrow, September 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I am not hosting, but Gavin will be hosting, and you will be in for a treat. Leanne has the most incredible Scottish accent, so be prepared. Have your listening ears on. She is awesome and truly going to be a pillar in this space. So hope you guys have a lovely evening, and hope you'll tune in with us again tomorrow. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Oh, and
everybody.
because I see him sitting in the chat, I have to say a special good night, Space Cat.